So why is it that we tend to teach minor pentatonic before we teach major pentatonic? Is that just because we're all playing the blues? I don't think so. We're not. Not all my students. Is that because we're all influenced by classic rock? And that's not the case either. Certainly not all of my students. So I've conducted an experiment. I've taken 2 of my students and I taught them major pentatonic first. And I have to say, the results are really cool. Part of the reason why major pentatonic is so great is because the notes of major pentatonic are basically a major chord. They are root, 2, major third, 5, major 6, and root again. It's pretty much like a major 6 chord or a major 6-9 chord. It's kind of a cool chord in itself. It's a little jazzy for rock and roll. But what it means is that major pentatonic is like a magic scale that we can place over top of any major chord, and we can move it for any major chord so that we're not stuck thinking, okay, what's my one scale for this song? When we think that way, that's when we tend to get bored of what we're playing. That's when we start to feel stuck. Here's how it works. Let's say you're soloing in the key of A major. You got A chords all over the place. And if you use the first finger pinky rule, you have an easy way of figuring out A major pentatonic. All you have to do is put your pinky on the A note on the bottom string and play your easy shape. Now, the simplest way to move from one scale to another and change scales at that moment is just to use exactly the same method and move it up the fretboard. It's just like we do with chords, right? So A was here. D is here. Or think of this bar chord here. Pinky on the D root. And then easy shape is major pentatonic from there. So here's A. D. Now let's do E. Just find E with pinky, right? Easy. D. D on, pinky on the D root there. And A. Pinky on A. That's a really good way to go about it. It does mean that we have to move quite far up the fretboard, but the audience doesn't know. It's still the cool notes of each major pentatonic scale for each chord. But if we get a little more clever about it, we can just memorize what are the major pentatonic shapes related to the chord shapes that we might be using. So again, a lot of the times when we learn scales, we don't think about how they're connected to the chord shapes. But when we memorize how they're connected to the chord shapes, those scale shapes jump out at us. They become much easier to find because we're thinking about the chords of the song. We imagine the chord, the shape of the chord, and then we know, that's the pentatonic shape right there. For example, let's say we're imagining this A major bar chord, right? I can use my incredible chord scale connector, if you've seen that video of mine, and I know that this chord is connected to this major pentatonic shape, which I call the extension shape. But now, let's say we want to go to the 4 chord, D. All I have to do is memorize what is my major pentatonic shape for when my root is on the A string. And it is the symmetrical shape. So sure, that's going to take a little bit of memorization, but it's not that hard to visualize because when you think of the pentatonic shape itself and you think of the chord shape, you can see that the chord shape, of course, it fits right inside the pentatonic shape. They are connected. So let's try this again. We have A major bar chord, incredible chord scale connector, D, and I have its related pentatonic shape. The reason why this sounds so much more interesting is because when we're playing the major pentatonic for the D chord, we're highlighting notes of the D chord. And in a way, we don't even have to think about it that much. We don't have to think, oh, root third and fifth of a D is D, F sharp, and A. We can do that, but that's a lot of thinking. If we just picture what is the appropriate major pentatonic scale shape, how it fits over that chord, we are actually getting those notes. We're getting the important notes. We're getting, of course, the root. We're getting the major third, which is really important. We're getting the fifth, and we're getting another root, right? And we're getting another major third. They're all there. And take it one step further, as I did, I couldn't help myself there. Take it one step further and add in some blue notes, right? So my favorite blue note in this pentatonic shape is right there. I can't resist that one. If it's there, I gotta play it. That one is so good because of course, it sounds great, but also because it's easy to play. It's right there. So it's like you can spin through it with a bunch of hammer-ons. You can pull off. You can hit the blue note and pull off. That's a good one. When you go straight to the blue note first, pull off, and then down to the root, you get a really kind of bluesy sound because that blue note is pushed heavily. And so the 5 chord in the key of A is E. It's just 2 frets up. And so, of course, we can use precisely the same pentatonic shape, move 2 frets up as well, because we have memorized that when the root is on the A string, or when we have this particular bar chord shape, then we always have this pentatonic shape with that blue note. And that blue note, my other favorite one. So we get all these great easy licks, right? If you descend this E major pentatonic I'm in right now, instead of just going to the root, we can slide from the blue note to the major third into the root. So let's put all those together. We have an A major bar chord with the incredible chord scale connector, which is basically just the extension shape. And we have a D, and now we're going to memorize that whenever we're on this D major shape, we have this D major pentatonic. And we have E. With that cool little lick, right? And back to A. So let's do a little bit faster example. Here's the A. D, E, A. Cool. So we're combining some of the main ideas of my previous videos, but if you haven't seen those videos yet, doesn't matter right now. The main thing to take away here is that when you have major chords, you're now going to memorize the major pentatonic shape that fits over that chord. And we have one for this. And we have one for this now. So let's add to this the concept that I had in my video called The Greatest Lick I Ever Learned. Let's say we're on this D chord. Say it's a 4 chord, whatever. The greatest lick, if you've seen that video, is this. It's such a useful lick because what it does is whenever I see this major chord, I can do the little lick, the little slide up. And what does it do? It puts me in the easy D major pentatonic shape. Easy. So now A, incredible chord scale connector. D, the, what did I call it? Most useful lick I ever learned. Now look where I am. There's an E right here. And I have my third option now. This is the new one from this video. And this is the one where we simply memorize this pentatonic shape for this chord. And back to A. Let's put 3 concepts from 3 of my videos together. We're going to use this A bar chord, and we're going to use the incredible chord scale connector. We're going to use this D chord, and we're going to use the most useful lick I ever learned. We're going to use this E chord, and this is the new one that you're going to memorize, that whenever you're on this type of chord shape, not only do you have the most useful lick I ever learned, you also have this pentatonic shape. Back to A. So if you're not familiar with all those concepts yet, don't worry. Really, all we're doing is we're just thinking about chord shape and the related pentatonic shape for each one. And when you're on this chord shape, we have extension shape. When you have this chord shape, you got 2 options. You've got this slide up lick, which I call the most useful lick I ever learned, which puts us in this easy major pentatonic shape. It's D major pentatonic. How useful is that? That's so easy because now I'm not playing A major pentatonic anymore. I'm playing D major pentatonic. And also, when I have this same chord shape, I have this pentatonic shape. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to put a video on the screen here that'll help you get up to speed with some of these concepts. My name is Blue Morris, and I teach guitar lessons here in Vancouver. I'm going to make a video every Saturday for you for about a year. I'll see you next week.